Have you ever wondered how some people make better decisions than others? Well, it often boils down to one key factor: critical thinking. You see, critical thinking is more than just thinking. It's a systematic process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating information to reach an answer or conclusion. It's a process that demands rigorous standards of excellence and mindful command of their use. Consider it as a mental gym. Just like how you train your muscles to be stronger, you train your mind to be sharper, more analytical and more discerning. It's an exercise of reason where you flex your cognitive muscles to dissect arguments, uncover hidden assumptions, and recognize bias. But how does critical thinking differentiate from regular thinking? Well, imagine you're given a puzzle, a complex one with thousands of pieces. Regular thinking might involve putting the pieces together as they come, without much strategy, but critical thinking, it's about examining each piece, understanding the bigger picture, strategizing, and then methodically putting the pieces together. It's a more structured, more effective approach. It's also a tool for decision-making. Critical thinkers don't just make decisions based on gut feelings or first impressions. Instead, they gather and evaluate information, consider alternatives, and weigh the pros and cons before making a decision. They are driven by reason and evidence rather than emotions or biases. And the beauty of it? It's not exclusive to solving complex mathematical problems or making business decisions. It's applicable in every aspect of our lives, from choosing what to eat for breakfast to deciding who to vote for in an election. It's a skill that transcends the boundaries of disciplines and professions. In a world overflowing with information and misinformation, critical thinking helps you navigate through the noise, discern fact from fiction, and make informed decisions. It's your mental shield in a battlefield of ideas, arguments, and information. Critical thinking is a skill that can be developed and honed, impacting every decision made. So let's delve deeper and understand the mechanics of critical thinking in our next scene. So what exactly is the nuts and bolts of critical thinking? Let's dive in and decipher the mechanics of this powerful cognitive process. First and foremost, critical thinking involves understanding context. Context is the background, the setting, the situation in which a matter happens. Think of it as the stage on which the play of thinking unfolds. When we understand the context, we can better comprehend the issue at hand. It's like putting on a pair of glasses that lets you see the whole picture, not just a fragment. Next comes analyzing information. This is where we roll up our intellectual sleeves and delve into the heart of the matter. We dissect the information, examining its parts and scrutinizing its details. It's like being a detective in a mystery novel, sifting through clues and piecing together the puzzle. Once we've analyzed the information, we move on to evaluating evidence. This is the process of assessing the validity, reliability, and credibility of the evidence. It's like being a judge in a court of law, weighing the evidence and determining its worth. Remember, not all evidence is created equal. Some evidence might be strong and compelling, while other evidence might be weak and unconvincing. Finally, we arrive at making conclusions. After understanding the context, analyzing the information, and evaluating the evidence, we are now in a position to make an informed decision. This is where we draw our conclusions based on the evidence. It's like being a chess player, making your move based on the state of the board. But remember, just like in chess, your conclusions should always be open to re-evaluation as new information comes to light. And there you have it. The mechanics of critical thinking, when mastered, can lead to more informed and effective decisions. It's a journey from understanding context to analyzing information, evaluating evidence, and finally making conclusions. It's not just about finding the right answer, it's about understanding the process by which we arrive at that answer. The mechanics of critical thinking, when mastered, can lead to more informed and effective decisions. Still finding it difficult to grasp? Let's delve into some real-life examples. Consider the process of buying a car. You don't just go to a dealership and buy the first shiny vehicle that catches your eye. You think critically about it. You research the models that suit your needs and budget. You compare prices, check reviews, and maybe even consult with a knowledgeable friend. You reflect on whether the car's fuel efficiency aligns with your environmental values. You might even investigate the dealership's reputation. All these steps involve critical thinking, processing information, analyzing different perspectives, and making an informed decision. Let's look at another example: choosing a career. This isn't something most people decide on a whim. You reflect on your skills, passions, and long-term goals. You research different industries, job roles, and career paths. You might seek advice from mentors, attend career fairs, or gain work experience through internships. You weigh the pros and cons, consider the financial implications, and contemplate the lifestyle each career might offer. This entire process is a testament to critical thinking. Even something as mundane as deciding what to eat for dinner involves critical thinking. You don't simply eat the first thing you see in the fridge. You consider your dietary needs, the ingredients you have on hand, the time it takes to prepare a meal, and your culinary skills. Perhaps you're trying to eat healthier, so you opt for a salad instead of a pizza. Or maybe you've had a long day and decide to order takeout, balancing convenience with cost. All these considerations reflect critical thinking in action. These examples are a mere scratch on the surface of the countless ways we use critical thinking in our daily lives. From major life decisions to mundane daily tasks, critical thinking enables us to navigate our world with wisdom and discernment. It empowers us to make decisions that are not just good, but good for us. These examples illustrate how critical thinking can transform everyday decisions into well-informed choices. You might be thinking, if critical thinking is so important, why doesn't everyone use it? Well, that's a great question. Let's dive into some of the reasons why most people might not be exactly described as critical thinkers. Firstly, there's the barrier of knowledge. Critical thinking requires a certain level of understanding about the issue at hand. If you're not well informed about a subject, it can be challenging to critically analyze it. You can't dissect an argument if you don't understand its components, right? Then we have cognitive biases. These are essentially mental shortcuts we use to make decisions or form opinions. They allow us to navigate the world more efficiently, but they can also lead us to inaccurate conclusions. Confirmation bias, for instance, is a common cognitive bias where we tend to favor information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs and ignore information that contradicts them. Another significant barrier is emotional decision-making. We're all human, and emotions play a big part in our decision-making process. Sometimes we let our feelings override our logic, leading to decisions that might not stand up to critical analysis. It's like when you buy that expensive gadget you don't really need just because it feels good. And lastly, there's the factor of time and effort. Critical thinking takes time. It requires us to slow down, analyze, and question. In a world that's moving at a breakneck speed, taking the time to think critically can feel like a luxury many can't afford. Now, these barriers might seem daunting, but they're not insurmountable. Recognizing them is the first step. Then, it's about consciously working to overcome them. It's about making the effort to stay informed, to be aware of our biases, to manage our emotions, and to take the time to think critically. Overcoming these barriers is the first step towards becoming a more critical thinker. Now that you understand critical thinking, it's time to put it into action. It's not merely an intellectual exercise, but a practical tool we can use in our daily lives to make better decisions and avoid falling prey to misinformation and manipulative rhetoric. Imagine a world where we approach each decision, each interaction, each piece of information with a critical mindset. The power in our hands would be immense. We could discern truth from falsehood, make informed choices, and be less susceptible to manipulation. That's the power of critical thinking. But how do we apply it? It's simpler than you might think. Start by questioning everything. Don't accept information at face value. Instead, examine the source, consider the context, and evaluate the evidence. Is it reliable? Is it logical? Does it stand up to scrutiny? You're not being cynical or negative, you're being a critical thinker. Next, consider multiple perspectives. There's rarely only one right answer or one way to interpret a situation. By considering various viewpoints, we can gain a more rounded understanding and make more balanced decisions. Lastly, be open to being wrong. A key element of critical thinking is the ability to change your mind in the face of compelling evidence. Remember, it's not about proving yourself right, it's about getting to the truth. Think of critical thinking as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. It might feel difficult at first, but with practice it will become second nature. You will start to see improvements in your decision-making, your ability to solve problems, and even your relationships. You'll be less likely to jump to conclusions, more likely to listen to others, and more adept at navigating the complexities of life. So let's make a commitment to think critically. Let's challenge ourselves to question, to consider, to be open-minded, because the world needs more critical thinkers. And it starts with you. Remember, every decision, no matter how small, is an opportunity to exercise your critical thinking skills.